Independence Day on 15th August every year we celebrate. As we all know that we celebrate this day, 15th August, as Independence Day because on this particular day, 15th August in year 1947, our country became an independent nation. Because before this date, Britishers had been ruling over our country for more than 190 years. And their ruling began in our country after the Battle of Plassey, which was fought in year 1757, in which Indian army led by Nawab of Awadh, Sirajuddaula, was defeated by the army of British East India Company led by Robert Clive. In the beginning phase of British rule, there was not so much unrest among the people against the British rule. The people of our country initially they did not show any conflict against British rule because before the establishment of British rule in our country was divided into small kingdoms, and there were kings who were ruling over the different kingdoms. So there was no democracy even prior to the British rule also. So ruling pattern was similar. The ruling pattern of Indian kings who were ruling our country before British rule and that of British rule, ruling patterns were almost identical. And that is why people were not having any problem against British rule. एक कहावत कही जाती है कि कोई हो मृग हमें कहानी, कोई भी राजा हो हमको क्या फर्क पड़ता है. Because before British rule and during British rule also, the public was not having any power of decision making. Like now we are having democracy in our country and we make our government, we elect our policy makers. In this way we can say that we are having power to make our policy. That time, prior to British rule and during British rule also, people were not having this power. That is why they were thinking that the Britishers were like the previous rulers. That is why there was not much unrest. But this was the thinking of common men. But basically there was a basic difference between the British ruling and the ruling of Indian kings prior to British rule. Indian kings were belonging to Indian subcontinent. They were the local people. They used Indian subcontinent's resources for the development of Indian subcontinent. So during that era, Indian resources were being used within our country. But during British rule, Indian resources were being sent back to Britain. Actually, Britishers came to our country as a trader. One trading company of England, British East India Company, they came to our country for trading. When they came to our country, they found that India was a rich source of raw material. At that time period, the process of industrialization was going on in England. For that, they required huge quantity of raw material, and they found India a very rich source of raw material. That is why they decided to rule over India so that they could exploit the Indian resources. So this was the basic difference in the ruling pattern of Britishers and ruling pattern of the kings prior to British government. That during British government, our resources were being sent to Britain. They were taking our resources. The common people could not realize this, but there were few thinkers, philosophers, economists, educationists like B.K. R.V. Rao, Fitness Shiraz, R.C. Desai, and most importantly, Dadabhai Naoroji. They could realize this fact that Britishers were doing the exploitation of Indian economy by sending Indian raw material to Britain. And this process was defined as drain of India's wealth by Dadabhai Nauroji. And on the basis of this point that Britishers were using Indian resources, they were sending Indian resources back to Britain, they started mobilizing the people of our country. They started making the people of our country aware about this. And because of their efforts only, the people of our country could realize, could understand this fact that the Britishers were doing the exploitation of Indian economy by sending the resources of our country to Britain. And it initiated a huge movement that is known as the freedom struggle movement, which was led by the great leaders of our country like Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar, Sardar Bhagat Singh, Subhash Chandra Bose, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaq Ullah Khan, Birsa Munda, etc. Now all these freedom fighters of our country, they fought against British rule for a long time period of near about 190 years. What was their dream? They wanted to make our country an independent nation. But this was not the only dream. They wanted India an independent nation with democratic values based on social justice, modernization, growth, development. This was the dream, and because of all their sacrifices, their struggle, we could achieve one target in the midnight of 14th August 1947, we became independent. Now it was the responsibility of the policy makers, leaders of post-independent India to achieve other goals, to make India a democratic country based on the values of social justice, equity, growth, welfare. For that, after independence, our policy makers have been implementing many path-breaking policies and programs like implementation of constitution, making India a mixed economy, which is a mixture of socialistic economic system and capitalistic. Green Revolution, Operation Flood, industrialization, new economic reforms, implementation of GST, and recently demonetization. All these efforts were taken by our policy makers only to achieve all these goals, and because of their efforts only, we can proudly say that now we are the 5th largest economy of the world. Come on, give a big round of applause for this achievement. This is one of the greatest achievements of post-independent India, that we are the 5th largest economy. And as per projections, by 2027, we will be the 3rd largest economy of the world. All these things we could achieve only because of the sacrifices made by our freedom fighters during British period, as well as the policy makers of post-independent India. Now it is your responsibility, children, to carry forward this legacy of welfare, social justice, growth, development. और इस साल का थीम है विकसित भारत, इंडिपेंडेंस डे का थीम है विकसित भारत, मीन्स डेवलप्ड इंडिया. We have to make, now it's our responsibility to make our country a developed nation. This is our dream. And this was the dream of our great freedom fighters also, our forefathers, our previous policy makers. Now it is your responsibility, children, to do your best to achieve this goal, to make India a developed country. How to develop our country? कार्ल मार्क्स ने एक बार कहा था, बहुत बड़े फिलोसोफर में कार्ल मार्क्स, शायद आप लोग नाम जानते होंगे. जब उनसे पूछा गया कि बताइए देश का कल्याण कैसे किया जाए, हाउ टू achieve the target of welfare in a country. उन्होंने बोला कि यदि सारे लोग अपने अपने वेलफेयर के लिए काम करें तो ऑटोमेटिकली पूरे कंट्री का वेलफेयर हो जाएगा. उसके लिए कोई एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी स्टेप्स हमको नहीं लेना होता है. Same thing we can apply here also for the development of India. You have to develop yourself, students. यदि सारे बच्चे जो हमारी फ्यूचर जनरेशन है, अपकमिंग जनरेशन, यदि वो डेवलप है, automatically our country will be developed country. What is the meaning of development? डेवलपमेंट का मतलब कैसे क्या होता है? पहले समझ लीजिए, डेवलपमेंट का मतलब होता है 3 डायमेंशनल डेवलपमेंट, 360 डिग्री डेवलपमेंट, जिसको बोलते हैं ऑल राउंड डेवलपमेंट. मेनी टाइम्स मैं भी यहां से बोलता हूं, टीचर्स आल्सो से दैट यू हैव टू ट्राई योर लेवल बेस्ट फॉर ऑल राउंड डेवलपमेंट. दिस इज द गोल ऑफ एजुकेशन, ऑल राउंड डेवलपमेंट. ऑल राउंड डेवलपमेंट का मतलब होता है डेवलपमेंट ऑफ 3 डोमेन्स: कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट, अफेक्टिव डेवलपमेंट एंड साइकोमोटर डेवलपमेंट. 3 डेवलपमेंट करना होता है. कॉग्निटिव मींस acquiring valuable knowledge which you are acquiring by attending the classes. Teachers are doing their level best to provide this thing. Second is affective domain, your emotional and moral development. That is being inculcated automatically when you are coming to the school, because the school is the small set of society. Students from all the community, from all the states, especially in KV, coming to the school, and by interacting with them, you are getting these values of moral and emotional development. And third is psychomotor, means physical development. So many games and sports related activities are going on in KVS and you are participating in them. तो ये 3 एक्टिविटीज को यदि आप इफेक्टिवली, ऑल दिस 3 एक्टिविटीज में इफ यू आर पार्टिसिपेटिंग, ऑटोमेटिकली देयर विल बी ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ योर पर्सनालिटी. ये डेवलपमेंट कैसे किया जाए? वेरी सिंपल मंत्रा, जो कि मेरा ड्रीम भी है इस स्कूल में लाना, और काफी हद तक हम सफल भी हुए हैं. अप टू अ सर्टेन एक्सटेंट वी हैव अचीव्ड दिस आल्सो. दैट इज डिसिप्लिन. Discipline is the key mantra to achieve anything. You can achieve anything. You can take the example of any successful individual. That individual followed the mantra of discipline. कई बार लोग पूछते हैं कि डिसिप्लिन का मतलब क्या होता है, तो बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स फिनोमिनन है, वेरी सिंपल फिनोमिनन. You have to do what you are expected to do. That is discipline. आप वही कर रहे हैं जो आपको करना चाहिए, जो आपसे एक्सपेक्टेड है, वही डिसिप्लिन है. If you are attending the science class, you are expected to think about science only. If you are thinking about games, sports or other subjects, it means you are not following the mantra of discipline. You are expected to come to school at 8:20. You are coming at 8:20. You are following the discipline. You are expected to sit quietly on this auspicious occasion of Independence Day. You are sitting quietly. This is the discipline. Only by following the mantra of discipline, you can develop yourself. If you are able to develop yourself in true manner, automatically our country will be a developed country. So it's your responsibility. So I would like to urge all my dear students to take an oath on this auspicious occasion, that from today onwards they will live only for the pride and honor of the nation, and they will try their level best to promote and protect the values of democracy, welfare, self-reliance, modernization. And for that there is only one mantra, that is discipline. So did you take this oath, all the students, that you will follow the mantra of discipline from today onwards? Yes or no? You please speak. Thank you so much. Now with these words, I am ending my speech. सेइंग वंस अगेन आप सभी को स्वतंत्रता दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। जय हिंद, जय भारत, भारत माता की